Hello and welcome back to another installment of my Top 5 Links in the Legend of Zelda series. Now if you haven't had a chance to check out my picks for numbers 3, 4, and 5, you still have time to look at these links here. Now we are getting very close to the top of this list, obviously since you can count, so let's take a look at my runner-up coming in at number 2. I have Skyward Sword Link coming in at number 2. I feel like this might be an unpopular pick for such a high spot, but even though he was only in one game so far, this guy did a lot of important things. This Link grew up above the clouds in the land of Skyloft. At this point, all humanity knows is life in the sky. Link, along with his childhood friend Zelda, are students at the Knight Academy, and Link is set to participate in the wing ceremony. After demonstrating his flying skills, Link wins the competition to become a senior classman and gets to play the part of the hero in the rest of the ceremony, while Zelda plays the part of the goddess. Afterward, the two decide to celebrate Link's victory by taking a flight together. However, this is when disaster strikes. A strange black tornado appears and drags Zelda downward. Link attempts to follow, but is instead thrown into the opposite direction. Link gains consciousness in his bed and is able to explain what happened to Zelda's father, Headmaster Kapora, who tells Link to get some rest and head out in the morning if he plans on going looking for Zelda. That night, Link is beckoned by a strange spirit to a mysterious chamber hidden inside the goddess statue. Inside the chamber, Fi reveals herself to be a spirit residing in the goddess sword, and that it is Link's destiny to wield the sword as the chosen hero. When Link draws the sword, Fi recognizes him as her rightful master, and Link is provided with a way to get below the sky's cloud barrier. Headmaster Kapora witnesses these events and tells Link this journey's burden must fall on his shoulders in order to avoid panic within Skyloft. Link is outfitted with his new knight's outfit, which just so happens to be green that year, and sets out on his quest to find Zelda and discover their destiny. Throughout his adventure, Link deals with a lot of people and creatures. Some are helpful, and some are not so much. The inhabitants of Skyloft and the surface are kind of a mixed bag. On one hand, you have the helpful people like the wise Headmaster Kapora, the Academy instructors Horwell and Allen, Pippet, one of Link's senior classmates, and Gondo, who repairs and upgrades your equipment. Gorko the Goron is probably my favorite Goron in the entire series, as he seems very intelligent and is always willing to give Link whatever information he has. The Kikwi tribe is a bit timid at first, but they eventually warm up Link and offer him some tips along the way. Link also runs into a bunch of Magmas, who will end up helping him out through various points of the game. Skipper here is probably the most helpful of the robots, as he aids Link in tracking down his ship, which houses a sacred flame. Now, there are still quite a few on the difficult hand. The Magmas, while eventually helpful, are a little bit greedy and also mistake Link for both a bad guy and a treasure hunting competitor. Needless to say, they weren't always too cooperative. Link has many encounters with Pharaon, the water dragon, and she is shown to be very persnickety. She's often shown threatening others with violence, and at first expresses doubt about Link being the chosen hero. There is also Scrapper, a salvage robot with a bad attitude. He refers to Link as Master Shortpants and only agrees to help due to Fi's presence. And actually, most of the robots don't really seem to want to help you out too much. And then there is Groose. Groose has feelings for Zelda, and his jealousy leads him to try to bully Link at the academy. He was responsible for hiding Link's loft wing in an attempt to make him miss the wing ceremony. Groose appears to play the role of the comic relief throughout the game, and while he later makes himself useful and aids Link, he still does so in a profoundly annoying way. Now Link first begins his journey by trying to track down Zelda, who also happens to be on her own quest. Link follows her trail from the depths of Faron Woods to the treacherous Eldin Volcano and the desert ruins of Lanayru. After battling his way through a couple of temples and an ancient mining facility, Link eventually catches up to Zelda at the Temple of Time in Lanayru. Zelda is then able to give Link the Goddess Harp in order to aid him on the rest of his quest. However, their reunion is cut short by the evil Girahim, who has also been chasing Zelda in order to revive his master. Link is able to intervene and stall Girahim, while Zelda escapes using the Gate of Time, which Impa destroys after they pass through. Later on, Link is able to learn of another Gate of Time at the Sacred Temple in Faron. However, Link will need to seek out 3 sacred flames to purify and strengthen the power of his sword in order to activate the gate. Naturally, Link immediately sets out in order to find the 3 flames. With the harp he obtained from Zelda, he is able to learn some songs that will guide him in his path to each flame. These songs were left for the chosen hero at the Isle of Songs inside the Thunderhead. Link will use these songs in order to undergo trials to prove his courage, wisdom, and power. He will then gain an item that will help lead him to each flame. To do this, Link must enter a supernatural place known as the Silent Realm. While in the Silent Realm, Link must collect sacred tears and avoid guardians in order to prove himself and pass each trial. After completing a trial, Link is able to make his way to where the corresponding flame is hidden. Link first makes his way through Lake Floria and is able to find his way into the ancient cistern, where Faor's flame is located. He then makes his way through the Lanayru region, where with the help of the skipper and time shift stones, he's able to find his way to the ancient sand ship that houses Nehru's flame. And finally, Link is able to make it to the peak of Eldin Volcano and locate the fire sanctuary, which houses Din's flame. At this point, this Link does one of the most important things in the entire series. After tempering the Goddess Sword in all 3 flames, it transforms into the Master Sword. That's right, this Link was responsible for helping forge the Master Sword. With the power of the Master Sword, Link is able to open the Gate of Time back in the Sacred Temple. Upon passing through the gate, Link travels back in time and catches up with Impa and Zelda. Zelda finally reveals the purpose of her quest to Link, in that she has awakened as the reincarnation of the ancient goddess Hylia. Zelda bestows Hylia's blessing on Link, and the Master Sword reaches its true form. She also reveals that she chose Link due to his unbreakable spirit, and because he would throw himself into any danger if it meant saving Zelda. All of this was done so that Link could grow and become worthy of wielding the Triforce. After their short reunion, Zelda then seals herself away, both to maintain the seal on the demon Demise, and as punishment for Hylia using Link's feelings for her to make sure he was able to fulfill his destiny. Zelda would only be able to awaken from this seal once Demise had been defeated for good. And so Link sets out to find the legendary Triforce. Link is able to discover that the Sky Spirit Levias, who looks a lot like the Windfish, Jabu Jabu, and the Ocean King, may know its location. Levias is able to reveal that there is a song that will lead Link to the Triforce. However, he only has one part of the song. The other 3 parts of the song are held by the 3 dragons that oversee the surface world. Once again, Link meets the water dragon Pharaon, who as usual makes him do some stupid test to prove his worth before she teaches him her part of the song. When searching for the fire dragon Eldin, Link is knocked unconscious by an eruption during his descent from the sky. Momentarily captured, Link is able to make his way back up the mountain and reacquire his lost equipment. He is then able to find Eldin, who will teach Link his part of the song. In the Lanayru region, Link only finds the remains of the thunder dragon Lanayru, who is responsible for all those robots. Even in the past, Lanayru is sick and unable to sing his part of the song. Link is able to use the Gate of Time to his advantage to grow a life tree and heal the dragon, who then sings his part of the song. Back in the sky, Levias gives Link the final part of the song. Link is able to put the parts of the song together and learns the full song of the hero. Link uses the song in order to enter the Silent Realm on Skyloft and obtain the Stone of Trials that opens the way to the Triforce. The location of the Triforce is at last revealed to be under the Isle of the Goddess. Link ventures into the Sky Keep filled with puzzles and danger in each room. The entire dungeon itself is essentially a big slide puzzle, and I never was good at those. He eventually finds his way into 3 different rooms, each housing a portal to the Silent Realm. Each portal allows Link to obtain one piece of the Triforce and eventually assemble all 3 parts. Having proven his power, wisdom, and courage, Link is worthy of wielding the Triforce. This means Skyward Sword Link is one of the few in the series to obtain the complete power of the Triforce. Now let's take a look at what sort of enemies this Link had to deal with. This Link took on some recognizable foes, but also took on quite a few unique ones. Of course he fights against a lot of small fries, like tons of bokoblins, choo-choos, and Deku Babas. We also get to see some moblins again, but they don't seem that smart. He also has to deal with some enemies based on ancient technology, including Bimos, Armros, and Centrobes. He does also encounter some more heavy-duty enemies along the way. He battles it out with some various Stalfos and some armored Stallmasters. Lizfos, who now have large arm guards. Mamanos, just a hand made of lava. And a few ancient pirate robots like Skirvo. Skyward Sword Link also takes on his fair share of the big bosses. Scaldera here is pretty much a giant bug made out of lava with a boulder-like exterior. Moldarak is a giant scorpion. Not really much else to say here because that's exactly what it is. Koloktos is a big old robot with multiple arms and blades. Now it'll eventually pull itself out of the ground to pursue Link, but is able to be defeated by its own huge swords. Link encounters Tentaclus while in the past on the sand ship. It attacks the ship and Link must make his way to the deck in order to do battle. It always reminded me of a cross between Kraken and, like, Medusa. Back in the sky, Link battles with the parasite Bilokite, who had possessed Levice. Link uses his Loftwing to force it to show itself, and then battles it out on the back of the Great Sky Spirit. And then there is this guy. Demon Lord Girahim. This guy is a constant pain throughout the adventure. Girahim is presented as a very theatrical, over-the-top, and overconfident villain. He also looks a lot like David Bowie, especially from Labyrinth. Girahim doesn't see Link as a threat through most of the game, often proclaiming him beneath killing, and that his sword is the only reason that Link stands a chance against him. Girahim chases Zelda throughout the game in order to revive his master Demise. Link clashes with Girahim numerous times during the game, usually resulting in a sword fight. Although Link usually has to force Girahim to take the fight seriously, as Girahim does not usually draw his sword until the end of the fight. In their final encounter, Girahim kidnaps Zelda and slips through the Gate of Time to revive his master in the past. Link follows him to the sealed grounds where Girahim has started to cast a spell upon Zelda. Exclaiming that he needs more time to finish the spell, he summons hordes of monsters to slow Link down. Link is able to fight his way through wave after wave of monsters, and finally interrupts the ceremony. Furious, Girahim suspends Zelda in the air and takes on Link in a new form. Link is able to take him head-on and forces Girahim back to the ground, in which Girahim summons a big sword for a final confrontation. Link is able to defeat him, but it is too late as the spell is completed whilst the two fought. The real threat Link faces in the game is Demise, an ancient demon hell-bent on world domination. Link actually has to deal with him periodically throughout the game. In this form, he is known as the Imprisoned, and he is really annoying. This is the sealed form of Demise, which Hylia and her followers were able to trap him in. It is up to Link to combat the massive monster by striking the spike embedded in his forehead. After doing this, the imprisoned can be forced back into the ground and is sealed away once again by Link. Over the years, the seal on him has started to weaken, and he is able to manifest as this huge monster. Link battles and seals away the imprisoned a total of 3 times throughout the game. In his time, Link is eventually able to defeat the imprisoned for good by obtaining the Triforce. He wishes for the monster's complete destruction, at which point the monster breaks the seal once more. However, the Isle of the Goddess breaks free from Skyloft and falls from the sky, destroying the imprisoned once and for all. Unfortunately, due to Girahim completing his ritual in the past, Demise was revived in his true form. At this point, it is revealed that Girahim is actually the spirit of his sword, much like Fi. Demise initially appears to be impressed by Link's courage and offers to take him on in battle. Link follows Demise into a prepared battlefield. Demise appears pleased to have a fight, but is noticeably arrogant, notifying Link that after he finishes off the hero, he will kill his family and his friends, and then seize the Triforce for himself. The battle begins as a simple sword duel. Despite Demise's size and power, Link is able to fight the demon on equal footing. Demise will eventually reveal his own version of the Skyward Strike and power his sword with electricity. Link, however, is also able to use this and eventually overpowers the demon, plunging the Master Sword through his chest. As Demise begins to fade, he curses the line of the goddess and the hero to be plagued by an incarnation of his hatred. What remains of his consciousness is then absorbed into the Master Sword. With Demise vanquished, Zelda's soul has been freed, allowing her to be revived. As everyone begins to celebrate their victory, Fi interrupts and requests that Link place the Master Sword in the pedestal to end their mission. Upon doing so, Fi's spirit would enter into an eternal sleep in the sword. And so she gives her thanks to Link and says goodbye to her master and friend. The group also says farewell to Impa, who must watch over the temple while they return to their time. Once back in their time, they realize the old lady is Impa and get to say goodbye one more time. The people of Skyloft are now shown to be able to come freely to the surface. Link and Zelda meet once again atop the statue, which now houses the Triforce. Zelda tells Link she wishes to live on the surface, and it is heavily implied that Link stays as well. This is the land that would become Hyrule. I also just want to point out a couple more things here. Skyward Sword Link is pretty much the Indiana Jones of Links. For one, he is an obtainer of rare antiquities. He also has a whip. Look at that sweet whip action. Then it's on to the leap of faith. And who could forget the classic Raiders boulder scene? Pretty much the only thing we're missing here is some Nazis to beat up. The last thing I want to talk about here is a little romance. You can really tell this incarnation of Link cares about Zelda. Obviously, they grew up together and became very close over the years. I feel like this is the Link and Zelda pair with the most heavily implied romantic relationship of the series. And really, part of the reason he became the chosen hero was based on his strong feelings for her. Also, just look at how Link is constantly making googly eyes towards her. Seriously, look at him. Hey everybody, thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe. If you haven't, feel free to check out my other videos.